Mario Kart 8 is back, but this time in deluxe form on the Nintendo Switch. And even though it is mostly the same game at its core, it's hard to argue that the deluxe moniker isn't warranted when you look at it by the numbers. You get 48 tracks, which includes the 16 DLC tracks, a brand new battle mode with 5 modes and 8 new arenas, 35 characters, 5 of which are new, and of course, the same fun, rock-solid Mario Kart 8 gameplay, but now with a few new tweaks. Oh, and to top it all off, the visuals have been slightly enhanced too, now running at a full 1080p, 60 frames per second. What I'm getting at is, this is by far the biggest Mario Kart ever, which makes it a pretty amazing value if this is your first time purchasing Mario Kart 8. But if you're a big Nintendo fan like myself, then there's probably a good chance you've already played most of that content on the Wii U. Possibly for hundreds of hours. Not that I would spend that much time on a single game or anything. So for people that fall into that camp, the question then becomes, is it worth double dipping for a game that's still largely the same? So if that describes you, hopefully by the end of this review, you'll find your answer. Okay, so when it comes to racing, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is by and large nearly identical to the original game. The core gameplay is mostly unchanged, and the track lineup is straight up identical. Which is a bit of a bummer for someone like me who's raced each one of them dozens, if not hundreds of times already. But at the least, almost everything is unlocked from the get-go, which is nice for those of us who've already gone through that process. Although it is possible that may reduce the replay value for those new to the game, since there's now less incentive to play through every cup and mode in single player. Really, the only unlockables left are kart parts and Gold Mario. Now, while the tracks themselves may be identical, the core gameplay is, okay, mostly the same too. But there have been a few tweaks that will have some impact on how you play the game, even if it's not necessarily to a significant degree. Such as the new purple sparks that award a much longer mini-turbo for those who have mastered long drifts. But because it requires a relatively long and gradual turn, the opportunities to use it are comparatively rare, which makes earning one all the sweeter. Now, one change that's considerably more prominent is the addition of a second item slot, allowing you to hold on to 2 items at the same time. And that addition comes complete with the return of the double item boxes from Mario Kart Double Dash, allowing you to potentially snag 2 items at once. And this addition opens up new strategies and options that weren't possible before. For instance, on a track like Toad's Turnpike, it now might be worth going out of your way to snag a pair of item boxes for better offensive or defensive capabilities. Having a second item slot also helps address one of my complaints from the original game, giving whoever's in first place a better shot at getting an item that isn't a useless pair of coins. Which for me is pretty nice because I really do hate those coins. Similarly, the Super Horn used to be pretty worthless in first place, as it left you completely vulnerable to most everything except for blue shells. But now you can keep it as a backup item while you use something else as a primary form of defense. Basically, the addition of a second item slot really does change the game in subtle ways, and I'm sure I've just scratched the surface. But it does have a side effect of making races even more chaotic than before, since you now have even more items flying around for better or worse. And speaking of items, the Boo one is also back, allowing racers to steal another person's item. It's not a major addition, but it does add another layer of unpredictability that wasn't there before, such as how someone might now randomly end up completely defenseless when their only item gets stolen. Yeah, that's always kind of awesome, as long as it doesn't happen to you. Now, none of these changes really impact the core game that dramatically, but they do add a few new wrinkles to give returning players something fresh to learn and master, and I appreciate them for that. Although it is still a little bit too early for me to definitively say that the changes are categorically for the better. But again, I really do appreciate that they make the game feel at least a little bit different from before. Now, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe doesn't change things up just for the sake of returning players, but inexperienced ones too, as it now goes the extra mile to be as inviting as possible to those new to Mario Kart. Or heck, maybe even video games in general. Because you can now essentially turn your kart into a self-driving car thanks to a couple of new options. Auto Accelerate ensures that your car keeps moving, even if you forget to step on the gas, and Smart Steering will help keep you on the track by avoiding walls or going off-road. Now, neither of these options alone will make you a champion, but they will certainly help prevent newcomers from falling too far behind the pack. Although I do have one complaint, because it's way too easy to accidentally toggle those options on or off without realizing it until mid-race, as I did several times. Okay, now up until this point, we've clearly been discussing a game that's largely the same as before, just with a few minor tweaks and adjustments here and there. But the new battle mode is where Mario Kart 8 truly earns its deluxe moniker, as it's been rebuilt from the ground up, offering an experience vastly superior to the original game. Instead of the boring, reused, and retrofitted tracks in Mario Kart 8, Deluxe offers 8 brand new arenas custom built for battle, featuring the same multi-layered and interconnected designs that the series is best known for. all 8 of which are compatible with Deluxe's 5 different battle modes. Whether it's popping inflatables in Balloon Battle, playing Keep Away in Shine Thief, dodging explosions in Bomb Blast, being greedy in Coin Runners, or even evading Piranha Plant Cops in the team-based Renegade Roundup. There is an impressive amount of variety here. I mean, between the amount of modes and tracks, there is 40 different combinations to play, and it's that exact variety that makes this battle mode stand out. Especially since it can compete against your friends in any of those different modes within the same round, with the crown going to whoever has the most overall points at the end. Now, even though I had fun with all 5 battle modes, I did find some of them to be better than others. Bomb Blast, for instance, can be just a little bit too chaotic at times. And I'm also not terribly fond of how it switches up the item controls for this mode only, with the distance you throw the bomb being dictated by how long you hold a button for. And in Renegade Roundup, it can be a little tough to not only tell who's who, but even to tell what's going on at all, as the mode is so fast-paced it practically demands keeping an eye on the map, which itself can be tough to read with all the player icons obscuring each other. But even with my slight misgivings for some of the modes, I didn't mind them occasionally popping up as part of the rotation. Again, it's the sheer variety that really makes a battle mode work here. Plus, Shine Thief is as awesome as always. But even with the amount of variety, I do wish there were a few more options to customize each match. For instance, Balloon Battle still feels a little watered down compared to how it used to work due to the lack of an option to play the classic Last Man Standing version. Instead, it's entirely point-based, which makes it a little bit less intense than it used to be. I also wish you could choose the exact amount of computer players instead of the all-or-nothing option the game has now. But hey, at least the computer players are pretty good at holding their own. Plus, if you mostly play battle mode online, this won't be much of an issue anyway. And speaking of online, my experience with it so far has been flawless, with no noticeable lag or connection issues in all my time racing and battling. Although that does come with a disclaimer, because all my experience with the online so far is of course based on testing before it's available to the public. So I'll be sure to provide updated impressions if my experience changes once the game's available to everyone. Oh, and by the way, Nintendo did make one pretty big improvement to the online, as you can finally change your character and cart setup without having to exit the lobby first. It's about time! So when you get down to it, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is exactly what it sets out to be. A slightly enhanced version of Mario Kart 8 with a vastly improved, if not quite perfect, battle mode. And by the way, it still looks absolutely beautiful to boot, with the upgraded 1080p offering an even sharper and cleaner look. But all of that brings us back to the question, and that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe worth picking up if you already own it on Wii U? For me, personally, that's a clear yes. Even though I played it to death before, the small gameplay tweaks on top of what was already a very solid foundation has me hooked all over again. Plus the new battle mode is actually fun this time and it's a nice change of pace. So in short, I like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a lot. But that doesn't mean it's for everyone, despite the ESRB rating. Because if you either didn't like the original game, or maybe just grew sick of it, there really isn't that much here that could change your mind. Unless, of course, you happen to be a really big fan of battle mode, in which case that might be reason enough. And with that, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to GameXplain if you haven't already for more on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and all things Nintendo Switch 2.